All right, I'd like to call to order the May 25th, 2023 regular meeting of the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Bridget, could we get the roll call, please?
President Gibson?
Here.
Vice President Ruffing?
Here.
Commissioner Ancier?
Here.
Commissioner Jacks?
Here.
Commissioner Janner?
Here.
Commissioner Risvold?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here. Thank you. Are there any matters from the public?
I haven't received any.
Okay, thank you. Bridget, could you please read the consent agenda?
Item 3.1, approve May 11, 2023 regular meeting minutes. 3.2, ratify and approve nunc pro tunc the action of the executive director in purchasing one 2023 Toro Z Master 7500D from Reinders Inc. for $47,238.18. 3.3, ratify and approve nunc pro tunc the action of the executive director in purchasing one 2023 Toro Z Master 7500D from Russo Power Equipment for $45,420. 3.4, award the contract for the Eagle Park Bridge Replacement Project to Misfits Construction Company in the amount of $108,000. 3.5, award the contract for the Crest Creek Park Basketball Court Renovation Project to Evans & Sons Blacktop, Inc. in the amount of $62,989. 3.16, award the contract for the Ranch View Park Tennis Courts Resurfacing Project to Sport Court Midwest in the amount of $173,460. And 3.7, approve the 2023 independent contractor agreement for swim instruction with Naperville Aquatics, Inc.
Thank you. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately? No. All right.
Move to accept consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.7.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ancier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes.
Move to approve consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.7.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. No unfinished business. On to new business. Ordinance 641 amendment.
Yes, I have the first item here. So at the June 8th meeting, staff will be proposing an amendment to Ordinance 641, which is the district's conduct ordinance. And this would be specific to the e-bikes portion of the ordinance. Right now, Ordinance 641 restricts e-bikes or the use of e-bikes on Park District trails to Class 1 e-bikes. What we would like to do with the amendment is actually expand that to also include Class 2 e-bikes. Essentially, the bikes are very much the same in how they function and their maximum speed. However, Class 2 e-bikes include a throttle and is not just the pedal assist. When we first put together Ordinance 641 several years ago to include e-bikes and the use of them on Park District trails, we looked to be consistent with the Forest Preserve districts and their trail regulations. Since that time, DuPage, the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County has actually changed to allow for this classification. We reached out to staff and they've not had any issues. This is actually a resident request that came through for the Park District to consider this change. Staff has reviewed it and we would like to proceed with making that recommendation at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on this item?
If we heard from the park police at all, like is it kind of the honor system out there, or do people actually get stopped by park police for being on the wrong bicycle? Or
Park police, if they were to see someone speeding excessively on the trails, would look to stop that individual. We're not out there policing or checking the exact classifications of e-bikes, but we are monitoring the trails. Park police have been involved with looking at this change with the amendment. They were actually the ones that reached out to the Forest Preserve District and received the feedback from their staff there.
And then we have signage. Signage is the main form of communication out on the trails, right? As far as what the rules are.
We have the ordinance that's posted on our website. The majority of information that we have is on our website. There are various signs that communicate different rules and regulations out within the parks, but as far as specific to e-bikes, I don't believe that we have those posted anywhere on the trails.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are pulling golf and fleet, or 5.2, golf and fleet capital vehicle and equipment purchases. So next up is fleet vehicle purchase.
Thank you. I'm going to be standing in for Tim Quigley on this. Some information on this purchase in your May 19th weekly packet. You should have seen information on the proposed purchase of a 2023 Ford F-250 pickup with plow. Staff is anticipating this will be on the consent agenda for consideration at the June 8th Board of Commissioners meeting. Just some feedback or some background on this. We've discussed this previously. We've had issues because of limited inventory, traditional purchasing methods such as the cooperative purchasing networks for trucks and vehicles are currently not available. So to be able to purchase vehicles, staff has been contacting individual dealerships to find trucks in their inventory that may be available. If a vehicle is found that may fit, staff will request pricing and determine if the vehicle could be held. Staff, using this process, was able to find a Ford F-250 pickup with a plow available from Curry Motors for a price of $63,376. Staff also solicited quotes from several other dealers for similar vehicles, and the truck from Curry Motors was the best value. The proposed truck will replace truck number 37, which was due to be replaced last year. And Curry Motors has agreed to hold the vehicle pending our approval, the board's approval in June.
Great. Any questions?
Just kind of a general question. What's the life for these trucks usually before you trade them or get rid of them, or does it kind of depend on?
The current
Mechanics.
lifespan is about 10 years is what they've been shooting for. This truck is actually 12 years old now. And it was a plow and salt truck and has exhibited a lot of corrosion and other issues that are beyond repair.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right, next is 2023 Brook Crossing Shoreline Restoration Project.
Good evening. A contract for restoring the shoreline of the pond at Brook Crossings is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval in June. The scope of work for this project focuses on the stabilization of the western shoreline of the pond at Brook Crossings. This is phase 2 of the project that began in 2021 with the dredging of the pond and restoring the eastern shoreline. The improvements include approximately 1,500 linear feet of pond shoreline to be restored as part of this phase. The restoration work involves removal of invasive and undesirable trees and shrubs, minor grading to ensure a stable slope, and installation of native seed. Pending contract approval, work is expected to begin this summer as weather permits, with the intent to reach substantial completion in the fall. Any questions?
Any questions? Director Schutz, can you speak to the communication with the residents, since I know this was a project we worked on 2 years ago? Have we reached out to the residents?
Absolutely. So we not only reached out to residents during the first phase, the second phase, we started with the communications last summer. So we conducted the 2023 capital budgets open house of featuring key projects. This was one of them. Not only did we place signs at the park site last summer, we also sent letters to nearby residents. At this time, the project overview is on our website, and we also intend to, before this project starts, once a schedule is confirmed, this is to resend or send additional notification letters to the nearby residents about this project.
Awesome, thanks. Great. Okay. All right, thank you. Commissioners Park Irrigation System Renovation Project.
A contract for this project is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval in June. The scope of work consists of renovation of existing sprinkler heads via adjustment of irrigation swing joints and landscape restoration. Pending contract approval, the project work is slated to commence in summer with the goal to reach substantial completion in the fall.
Great. Any questions on this item? No? All right, next we have DuPage River Park Bridge Renovation Project.
A contract for this project is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval next month as well. The scope of work consists of removal of the existing wooden pedestrian bridge structure and replacement with a new accessible asphalt pathway with concrete box culverts underneath and landscape restoration. The existing wooden pedestrian bridge structure is at the end of its useful life cycle. Pending contract approval, the project work is slated to commence in summer with the goal to reach substantial completion in the fall.
Questions?
No question. What is the lifespan of this project? When do you think would need to be done again?
Yeah, typically the bridges we have within our system, this type of bridge, it can last easily 40 to 50 years. We try to take care of them as best we can. Sometimes there's other factors that we can't control, such as erosion around the abutments and footings. But yeah, we anticipate something like this could easily last 40 to 50 years.
Great. Thank you. All right. Gartner Park parking lot renovation project.
A contract for this project is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval next month as well. The scope of work for this project includes resurfacing of the existing asphalt parking lot, as well as expansion of additional parking stalls along the access drive. Pending contract approval, work is expected to commence this summer with the goal to reach substantial completion in the fall.
Questions? Great. Thank you. Maywatts Park Trail renovation project.
A contract for the Maywatts Park Trail renovation project is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval in June. The scope of work consists of the conversion of the sections of a limestone screening trail to concrete, replacement of existing concrete sidewalk sections as needed, and installation drainage line. Pending contract approval, the project work is planned to commence in the summer with the goal to reach substantial completion in the fall.
Great. Any questions on this item? No? All right. And Nike Sports Complex irrigation system installation project.
A contract for the Nike Sports Complex irrigation system installation project is planned to be presented to the Park Board for approval next month. The Nike Sports Complex project will be implemented in phases in order to minimize disruption of operations. The phase 1 work was completed in 2022, included multi-purpose fields A and B. That's north of the tennis courts at Nike Sports Complex. And the phase 2 work planned for 2023 consists of ball field 2. That's the ball field to the southeast in the hub area, and multi-purpose fields F and G, which are south of the ball fields. Pending contract approval, the project work is slated to commence in summer with the goal to reach substantial completion in the fall.
Great. Any questions on that one? All right.
Actually, can I ask a question about the Gartner Park one? I meant to go back.
Absolutely.
Just for my own curiosity. How does the phasing work for parking as far as doing part of it so your people can still park and then, still fix it?
Yeah, a lot of times what we found, first and foremost, it depends on the project. In a moment, I'm going to provide an update in the planning department updates on Cedar Glade Drive, and that's going to be an asphalt resurfacing project. In some cases, the contractor can mill down the existing asphalt surface like in a day. So like during work time, they'll try to work with a crossing guard or let people in and out as far as parking. In that case, we may close it for a day. And then the next day would be paving and resurfacing. So it's usually maybe a 2 to 3 day process. In Gardner Park, that'd be something with the gravel that's there. We would have signage. We would inform the residents on when they arrive on site. We would work with our recreation staff and programming. There's all kinds of ways we can do to mitigate the impact to the resident of that. But we try to implement it in phases, but it's still going to be, it's a lot of times you hear the phrase, pardon our dust. It's one of those type of scenarios.
Can I ask a question going back to the Nike Park irrigation? Is that water source, is it well water or city water for that?
It's city water.
It is city water, okay.
That's
So there's going to be a cost per year for the water.
Yeah, so
consumed in
we
that.
ran the numbers of cost benefit analysis with the Parks Department who requested this project. And what we found that within our operating budgets, it is reasonable and accommodating based on the amount of water that's used. For instance, we're not using water year round like we would like in a building or facility. But we figured that the water based on cost benefit analysis was reasonable for this site based on the operations and programming. Another good example is like Frontier Sports Complex or Commissioners Park. We have what they call a recharging well. That's nice because we can pump well water and use that so we're not paying the city water bill. But in some cases, like some of our operations like Centennial Beach, we do need to utilize city water, but we incorporated that within our operating budgets.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions for Dr. Schutz? Nope. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to department updates. First, we have administration.
I just wanted to talk real quick. You probably have gotten a lot of communications from NRPA regarding the conference that's going to be taking place October 10th through the 12th. It's the national conference, and they generally have it. it moves around. It's going to be in Dallas this year. It does conflict with our meeting on the 12th. So we would consider, and I want to gauge some interest at, I'll be sending an invitation with more information tomorrow, who might be interested in going, and we may have to cancel that meeting. We've done that in the past when we've had, we don't think we'll get a quorum. They have a preliminary schedule out. I'll send that along tomorrow, and the early bird deadline, and I'll include that in the communication, is August 25th. If anyone has any questions about that, let me know. I know we have some staff attending. I don't have a full list yet.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you. Next is finance.
Hello, everyone. I do have an update from the Finance Department. You've heard about a lot of the other departments that are gearing up. In finance, we are geared up for our season, which means a lot of cash handling. We have a centralized process for all of our cash deposits or checks, except for the golf course. So that really increases, especially when the beach opens. We have lots of small change and a lot of dollars that come through. So it's time consuming, but it's good to have that second check and have it centralized also. As far as payroll goes, we had our first one this week, about 850 checks going out. So we are not yet at peak. We would expect that once the beach opens, we bring more staff on there. As far as our partners, I was at a Paderma Finance Committee last week where we approved their annual audit. Just wanted to share, because we do a lot with Paderma for all of our risk and insurance coverage. They're getting a clean audit. Everything went very smooth there. As far as IMRF and their annual audit, I'll be approving that for the new board members. I sit on that board. We'll be approving that audit tomorrow, which is our pension fund. And they're also expected, I know they have a clean audit opinion for that. And lastly, just other things in the finance department at year end, once we have our audit approved, which we have on our schedule for June 22nd to be brought forward to you, we will be preparing a whole bunch of filings that we are required to do by the end of June. So that's all going very smooth.
Great. Question?
Okay,
No?
thank you.
Thank you. Next up is golf.
Thank you. I wanted to apologize for my voice. I've got something going on in my sinuses right now, so I'm a little bit off. I apologize for that. But for golf, staff is very focused right now on the preparation for the grand opening at Springbrook Golf Course. As you may know, on Wednesday, June 14th at 4:30, we will have our ribbon cutting and grand opening ceremony. We have that planned in conjunction with the Naperville Chamber of Commerce. We will be communicating in our final details for that event in the near future, but we are expecting the day to go along with some brief comments from the leaders present, and then we'll have the ribbon cutting for the grand opening for the golf course. And then after the ceremony, we're going to have some fun contests on the practice greens for anyone interested. And then we also expect appetizers, some food from Belgio's Catering, and we'll have beverages provided by our staff at the golf courses. And everybody's going to also have a nice commemorative gift for all the participants that afternoon. Staff is preparing the golf course to open for play the following day on June 15th. The maintenance crew has been hard at work preparing the course for this day. We're looking forward to it. And most of the new features and the turf on the golf course look fantastic right now. However, some of the areas seeded late last season are not as mature as some of the other areas. For that reason, staff feels it would be best to limit the number of rounds for a period of time after we open up, that allow the course to fully mature without the stress of what we'd be expecting, a full opening. We know where there's a lot of demand right now for golf. There's going to be a lot of demand for people to see Springbrook, and we feel that the best plan right now would be to limit the rounds to start out with, and then slowly, incrementally build up to a full opening. Staff has been communicating with our leagues, our members, our permanent tee time participants, to make sure we provide them with options that work best for them, for their groups. Most right now are content to continue to play at Naperbrook. So we'll give them that option if they want. Otherwise, we'll have that ability to have their rounds played over at Springbrook. We'll continue to monitor the course once we open up and see how it responds to the play. And as things continue to mature and the course looks like it's doing well, we'll plan on keep slowly, incrementally increasing the rounds. Overall, golf right now, the rounds and the driving range numbers are continuing their early season trend. They're being higher than budgeted. We're looking at the numbers right now just at Naperbrook compared to last year. We had about 7,400 rounds at this point. We are at 11,499, so about an increase of about 4,000 rounds. Factors involved in that, obviously, with Springbrook closed, a lot of people are coming to Naperbrook, playing exclusively there, and the weather from last year compared to this year has definitely improved. But overall, the demand has really been impressive. The driving ranges combined range revenue right now are up over 12% compared to last year. And merchandise sales, this is a number that we were really surprised about. Even despite Springbrook being closed right now, and then prices being significantly higher than years past, we knew that there was going to be some issues with the inflationary prices of stuff, but we're seeing sales increase of 6% over last year. So that's been really a great surprise and showing at least the continued demand we're seeing right now in golf. So happy to answer any questions at that point.
Questions? No? Great. Thank you. Next up, we have Human Resources.
Hi, I'm standing in for Katie, obviously. Preparing for the summer season beyond recruiting and hiring efforts is a big part of what HR does. On May 2nd, staff from HR, marketing, recreation, and park police met for a tabletop exercise. Also in attendance at Chief Schindelbeck's invitation were representatives from the Naperville Police and Naperville Fire Departments. During the meeting, Safety Manager Jennifer Herman presented 3 emergency scenarios specific to Centennial Beach operations, which would initiate our crisis management plan. Everyone benefited from walking through the scenarios, connecting with city staff, and learning how some of the city's technology, like sonar equipment and drones, may be deployed in an emergency situation. So that was great. Prepare, so hopefully you don't ever have to initiate it. And then secondly, I'm really happy to be able to talk about this. As you know, Executive Director Wilson sent an email around to everyone about the recent another award that we have won, and it was the first time that we received an Excellence in Wellness Award from Marquee Health, who manages our wellness program for employees. And I'll just read from their press release, which was issued by them, that the district was one of 16 organizations selected from a pool of more than 750 employers of all sizes. The award recognizes those with best-in-class wellness programs and a culture of health and well-being throughout the organization. And just as one example, as we can all attest to, we had a program last Friday over at our golf course where a lot of work was put in by the golf team, specifically Mike Leisen, who was our head professional there. And they hosted our Fun Fitness Friday activity at the golf course, which actually, for one of these events had to be capped because we had over 40 district employees from all different departments that were there interacting for the lunch hour. So it was a lot of fun, very positive. And from someone who was there and also seeing people, it really helps with the culture and helps with retention that we all like working here. It's one example. So that's great that, 16 out of 750 that we are able to get that award. I'm sorry, Katie isn't here to talk about it, but I'm enthusiastic about it. I'm passing that on.
Great. Any questions? Well, congratulations, Director Wilson and all staff. That's a really great award. So, awesome. Thank you. All right. Next, information technology.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few updates from IT this evening. Right now, a lot of our efforts have just been over the last month focused on getting technology updated and ready to go for all the summer programs. The expanded use of that at some of the facilities that are only open for the summer, special phones that are out for camp counselors and the like. So there's been a lot of focus there. We're also looking forward to the the fun of clearing out the IT offices next week in anticipation of a much needed facelift for the space for my team. So we'll be taking up residence in the boardroom at admin for a few weeks while that space is renovated. The last update that I have is that we're working on preparing just the next few months of optional cybersecurity content that everyone loves that we send out on the first of each month, just to keep that focus on cybersecurity and information security front of mind. So,
Great. Questions? No? Thank you. Next up, marketing and communications.
Good evening, Commissioners. I have a couple of updates for you tonight. We have several ribbon cutting events that are coming up, and we're officially entering ribbon cutting season here very shortly. We have the Rothermel Family Pickleball Courts ribbon cutting located at Frontier Sports Complex, be on June 13th at 5 p.m. As Kevin mentioned, we've got the ribbon cutting for Springbrook Golf Course on June 14th, that next day. And then Tallgrass Lakes Playground ribbon cutting is set for Tuesday, June 27th at 5 p.m. And we have several other ribbon cuttings that are coming up this year too, between summer and fall. So more information to come on those as we schedule those dates. And then a couple of months ago, I had mentioned that we applied for an NRPA award to highlight our NeuroFlex fitness program, when we had a lot of high hopes for it. Unfortunately, we received notice that we did not get the award. We were one of almost 200 applications that were focused on health and wellness, and different districts and agencies touting their programs and things that are helping the community from a health perspective. So although we didn't win, we're still very proud of our NeuroFlex fitness program and the growth that it's seen over the last couple of years that it's been in place. And we know it's having a great impact on the community. So we're still very proud of that. Any questions? Thank you.
No, thanks. All right, next, Park Police. Do we?
Chief Schindelbeck's not here this evening, and just a very short update for Park Police. They are actually ramping up to their staffing, actually beginning this weekend with the opening of Centennial Beach. They will have several of the Park Service officers that will be at the beach, as well as doing bike patrols throughout our trails. So that begins this weekend.
Awesome, thank you. I also want to mention that some of our Park Police participated in Cop on a Roof. Last week?
Yes,
to
they did
support
last
Special
week.
Olympics, and I thought that was really great. They participated. So
Yeah, that's
great
one of the
organization.
programs that they support each year, and it's a great participation by our staff and representation of the Park District. So
Yeah, it
thank
was really nice they participated. All right, well, thank you. All right, next we have Parks. Director Schutz.
Hello. So Parks Director Tim Quigley asked me to provide his update this evening. The month of May is often considered one of the busiest for Parks Department staff. It's planting season for flowers, shrubs, and trees. Our plant material and landscape beds need to be watered, mulched, and sprayed. Turf work, including seeding, fertilizing, broadleaf spraying, and aerating, is taking place, while an all-hands-on-deck approach is being utilized to keep up with the mowing. Ponds maintenance has begun in earnest, and herbicide applications in our natural areas have been the focus before many of the weeds go to seed. Program support is in full swing, and we've been prepping the garden plots, Centennial Beach, and the splash pads for season openings. Pavilion rentals, tournaments, and other special events continue to be supported by our crews. Staff had also worked with volunteers on several successful projects during the month, and we're still working on interviewing and hiring for part-time positions to round out our workforce. With mowing always being a main topic of interest this time of year, the Director of Parks thought it would be pertinent to provide a few updates on the topic. The Park District entered into a contract with Have & Shine Technologies in 2023 to utilize their autonomous mowers at 3 parks in our South Division to mow approximately 20 acres. We're about 6 weeks into the season, and we're happy to report that the results have been very positive to date. Both parties have been learned a lot from each other and have been extremely pleased with their quality of service and the ability to adhere to the district standards. The contractor's diligence is sticking to the agreed upon schedules, which is outstanding, and their effective communication. Earlier in the month, personnel from the company and Park District staff met with the reporters from Naperville Sun and Naperville Community Television at Monarch Park to view the mowers in action. Both provided great coverage of the electric mowers and supplied background on the labor and environmental benefits that initially piqued our interest in working with Have & Shine. Up to this point, the autonomous units have proven to be safe, reliable, and garner positive reviews from the feedback we've received. Staff has already been putting one of the new 96-inch zero-turn mowers to test. The nearly 4-acre parcel was mowed by both the new zero-turn mower and an older 16-foot production. So a little bit of a competition they had between mowers and the Parks Department, with the bigger unit only completing the area about 8 minutes faster. This negligible time difference may prove to be a financial game changer, since the new 3-deck zero-turn mowers are approximately 1/3 the price of the larger production mowers. Since equipment pricing continues to skyrocket and pushing budget limits, locating viable alternatives remains to be high importance. Staff will continue to assess and compare these new units, and several mowers are scheduled for replacement over the next couple of years based on the fleet vehicle and equipment replacement plan. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions? Nope. Thank you. All right. Planning and development.
So for the planning department, I have a few updates. Master plan update on April 27th, 2023. We hosted a public open house in the multi-purpose room just behind us here at the Fort Hill Activity Center to showcase the master plan update, including the draft district-wide guides and next steps for formulating the plan. The district-wide guides are consistent with an organized or with our organization, including core values. The guides act as another layer of goal setting for the plan that complements existing organizational plans and initiatives. Resident stakeholder input received from the April 27th, 2023 public open house event and online review period, which was conducted in late April. Early May will be shared with the park board via upcoming weekly packet memo. We received actually 3 comment cards at the open house and 1 email regarding the master plan, which is pretty typical because we received so much input throughout the year through our budget process. When we get into the guides, by the time after we implement the master plan or prepare the master plan, as you know, we started with the community outreach, strategic plan, and master plan. So a lot of residents had input or ideas that's already incorporated in either our strategic plan or we heard from and incorporated in our master plan. Also, the feedback gathered as part of the outreach phase will be considered by staff in finalizing the plan. Next steps, in a weekly packet memo, there will be a link for the board to access the electronic version of the draft master plan. That would be either later this month or early in June, with the intent to present the plan for discussion at the June 22nd park board meeting. Any questions on that item? Next, I just want to provide a little overview. And as I mentioned earlier, Frontier Sports Complex Cedar Glade Drive resurfacing. This project is actually being performed by the city of Naperville. The city of Naperville is currently planning to mill and resurface Cedar Glade Drive from 95th Street to the, from that section down south, passing through where the 95th Street Library and 95th Street Community Plaza are, part of the 2023 resurfacing program. As I mentioned earlier, the city is looking at the milling of the asphalt surface would be about 1 day, and then the repaving would be about a day. The 2001 intergovernmental agreement identifies costs to maintain Cedar Glade Drive will be shared equally between the 3 parties, the city, the school district, and the park district. The most recent preliminary cost estimate provided by the city to resurface this section is $115 or $115,185, or breaks down to about $38,395 per agency. Final pricing will be provided following the city's bid opening. The work is planned to be performed through the city's contract, with invoices provided to the school and park district for each respective agency to share following completion of the work, likely around July of this year. The cost to cover the park district share of the Cedar Glade Drive resurfacing project is planned to be supported by funds available within the 2023 capital budget. And then lastly, I'd just like to provide a little update on the Mosier Tower Millennium Carillon event lighting system installation. This was a project that we actually had a chance to report out on to the Parks and Rec Committee going back to July of last year. The Park District plans to install a lighting system in order to effectively and efficiently illuminate Mosier Tower throughout the year. The new lighting system is expected to improve the lighting of the tower and minimize staff resources. To remove and install light bulbs of varying colors for numerous events, the approach for conducting this program earlier before the most recent renovation project. So this is going to save us a tremendous amount of resources of staff time to replace these bulbs. Based on the latest information, the last Millennium Carillon inside Mosier Tower is scheduled to be fully finished with construction soon. We're planning for the summer. The Park District is ready to resume this project, the lighting improvements, now in preparation for installing it before the end of this year. Park District staff released a bid for this project earlier in the year, and the project estimate was $100,000. We received one bid, and the amount came in at $369,000. We worked with the project designer to refine the scope to minimize the quantity of lights, but still provide us that really nice ambience and just overall aesthetic of the lighting project. We rebid the project, and it came in at $103,000. So we're very pleased with the results. We intend to bring a contract to the board for consideration at the June 8th meeting. And that's all I have.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And finally, we have recreation.
Good evening. As you can all see, everybody supports us with all their projects. First, I want to talk about, Eric had mentioned the Carillon. The Carillon construction is finally close to completion, which means we can begin to prepare for the opening ourselves. With several housekeeping items that need to be completed, we plan to have a soft opening during the month of June, as this will allow us time to get everything pulled together. Carillonneurs will return and begin to practice, and our Tuesday night concert series will start up again on June 6th. As we get closer to the end of the month, we will look to resume Carillon tours and the ringing of the bells. So stay tuned, that's coming up. The weekend weather is looking very promising, and we expect to be busy with the opening of Centennial Beach. We are fully staffed for the weekend with several new guards who will be ready to shadow on Saturday. Currently, there are 16 rookie guards who are close to successfully completing the training, and another 12 who are waiting in the wings who need additional training. So overall, we should be in a really good place with the guards this year, and also we're fully staffed at the facility. Preseason membership sales have come in strong over the last 2 weeks, and we are now right in line with last year's preseason sales with over 2,600 memberships sold, so we're right on line. The new paddleboat quarry rental operation successfully opened a couple weeks ago. For those of you who are new commissioners, last year the decision was made to combine the cafe and paddleboat operation into one operation to give us more efficiency. This allowed us to decrease the number of staff needed to run the operation and increase the foot traffic into the facility, which hopefully will result in increased food sales. So far we've been really successful the last 2 weekends. After months of preparation, close to 500 dancers are set to perform their end of the year dance recital on June 3rd and 4th. Several of these same performers will also take part in our Elan Dance Company Showcase, which is a showcase that we're doing that we're inviting the public to, and it's a free performance on June 4th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at North Central College's Pfeiffer Hall. So that should be really exciting. I think there's at least 11 actual dances that they will be doing, so it'll be worth coming out to see if you get a chance. On Sunday, June 4th, the Park District, in cooperation with Kids Matter, will kick off the summer with a free kite fly event at Frontier Sports Complex from noon until 4. Families can enjoy watching professional kite flying demonstrations, participate in games around the world, or enjoy flying their own kites. So that'll be exciting. And finally, summer programs are in the final stage of preparation, with many programs set to begin the week of June 5th. So summer is here. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Our next regular meeting of the Park Board of Commissioners will be June 8th, 2023 at 7 p.m. here in Fort Hill Activity Center.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition per section 2C5 and review executive session meeting minutes per section 2C11 of the Open Meetings Act.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson? Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Jacks?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone.